Hello, everyone. Broadcasting live video, January 1st, 2016. We've just recorded the first Dhammapada video, my first recording of 2016. I better get that out. Yesterday's recording, remember that 1 minute, for those of you who were here during that or have, now it's actually on YouTube, which is kind of silly, but that 1 minute video has been watched. Two people watched it. So it has officially been viewed by TEDx. Maybe this is my first step to giving a TED talk. What else? Tomorrow I'm going to Stony Creek. There's, I think it's the head monk's mother's birthday. It's kind of a New Year's celebration. It's a Sunday. And then Monday I'm going to Toronto in the morning for a meeting there, putting together a new certificate program at Emmanuel College in Toronto, University of Toronto, for non-degree students, practitioners, so people who may not even have a degree but are looking for a certificate in Buddhism, practical Buddhism. So we think it would be in conjunction, with Buddhist organizations who would train people, and these people would have to qualify, maybe do a write-up or something, and get graded, or I'm not sure how it would be set up. Fuzzy again. So anyway, I've been invited to be on the steering committee, organizing committee. I'm not sure really why. I think it's because I've talked at a couple of these meetings, and I have the ability to do stuff with words, so they like when I talk. Got a lot of experience organizing, and it's interesting. I mean, even before I was a monk, I was involved with student leadership since I was 14. I was doing student leadership conferences, and I got on the youth parliament, and I've always done this kind of, and then organizing once I became a monk, doing organization for meditation courses. Got a lot of experience, strangely enough. Anyway, so that's Monday. And then Tuesday, I think, is my first day of classes. That's my life. We got lots of people signing up for meetings. So, a couple new people anyway. Let's take a look. So for those of you who, there's only 4 available slots. So I'm not going to bother making a video or advertising it, because then we're just going to get people complaining that there aren't enough slots. So let's just keep quiet. It's our secret. 4 slots is fine. 4 empty slots. I mean, some of these people are going to be done soon. And today's 6:30 appointment didn't show up. Doug? Or is Doug finished? Maybe Doug's already finished. I can't remember. He's still on the list, though. Maybe I should just take him off. I can't remember. Some people call me and tell me they can't make it, and I just say, okay. Like Sunday, someone can't make it. Can't remember who. Hemant, I think. Anyway. So that's neat. That's a neat system. Right. Shehan came by today with 700 books. So they're in my room now. And they're going to come in handy for the 5-minute meditation. You guys saw that I posted the poster. We got a banner that's like big, and starting mid-January, hopefully, we're going to do 5-minute meditation lessons at the university. So it's a bunch of announcements. Do we have any questions? I think we do, right?
We do have questions, Bhante.
Oh, wait, give me a second. I just make sure we're recording properly. Yeah. Okay. I think we're recording properly. Go ahead.
Okay. Hi, can you please explain the difference between noting a phenomena and being aware of it? Which one happens first as one meditates? Thank you.
This is Mahmoud, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I was saying he's asked a lot of questions and hasn't yet logged any time, which is fine. But I want to be sure that he's actually meditating and meditating in this tradition, because he hasn't posted anything. So Robin says she can vouch for him as practicing in our tradition. So I'll answer the question, but I want to just make sure that this person's actually meditating.
I'll check with him. But just for newer people, if anyone missed it, we actually, do log in our time. It's just right at the bottom of the page. So just plug in your time and hit start.
When you meditate, try to log it here if you can. I don't log all my meditation here. I'm trying to, but I get interrupted and stuff, so it's not always convenient. Anyway, there's a really big difference. It's not, if you think about it, it's not that hard to see the difference. Noting is an act, it's an artificial act. Awareness is something that happens all the time. When you like something or you dislike something, you're aware of it first, right? Awareness comes there as well. The problem is when people try to use the word awareness to mean something more, like somehow one is, is intentionally aware, which it's just too vague to really pin down as being this or that or the other thing. You're always aware. So when you say intentionally aware or just aware, then the question is, what exactly is the difference? So that would be confusing when you have meditation where people say, just be aware. Don't react to it, just be aware of it. Question is, well, how do you do that? And it's through noting, this artificial practice that we claim that is accomplished. Noting comes after you're aware. After you're aware of something, you remind yourself, which is the meaning of sati, that is that. That is, pain is pain, seeing is seeing, thinking is thinking, sitting is sitting, and that's it. And that act of reminding yourself again and again, every time you experience it, pain, or thinking, is what creates, or not creates, is what prevents anything but awareness from arising. So all that arises is just bare awareness. This is the tool that leads you to be simply aware. So, it's a good question, but I think it's fairly easy to see if you're objective about it.
Hello, I have a couple of questions this evening. I am new to meditation. I find I'm easily distracted by noise around me when meditating. I have 2 dogs, for example, and their barking distracts me. How should I deal with this when meditating? Should I simply acknowledge my distraction and continue on? I also wanted to thank you. While I am not well versed in meditation, your videos have helped me through tough times in my life with regard to anxiety, and I appreciate what you do.
Um, Sound, for example, is is a proper meditation object. So you can meditate on the sound, just saying to yourself, hearing, hearing. Like, don't let it be a distraction. Have it be your meditation, which I suppose seems kind of strange, but this whole meditation must seem kind of strange if you're not clear on what's going on in your mind. You would have no reason. Why would I want to focus on the sound? What's going to happen? Is it something magical or so on? What's special about the sound of my dog's barking? You can become enlightened listening to your dog's bark. That's how special it is. But that seems weird and it seems strange, and how could that possibly be? It comes because the sound is an experience that arises and ceases, and your mind gets involved with it and reacts to it. And so just by listening to the sound, you can see all of the aspects of your mind, see how your mind works. You can begin to adjust your mind, begin to see how that the truth of reality is just experiences. So the whole idea of dogs barking is 99% conceptual. The only piece of it that's real is the sound of the ear. Everything else is real in terms of being a thought in the mind, but the only reality of it is it's being a thought, or reactions, emotions, and so on.
So if you
absolutely just meditate on the sound, hearing. If your mind eventually gets so it's not interested in the sound anymore, then you can ignore it and come back again to the stomach rising and falling. But try to note the sound until it goes away, or until your mind starts to become disinterested in it.
If you kind of can't help reacting, would you switch your object of meditation to your reaction?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you don't want to jump around too much, eventually come back to the stomach, but note at least that, reactions and so on.
Should have read this part with it as well. Would it be more beneficial to try and find a place more quiet without distraction to meditate?
No, I wouldn't do that.
There happens to be a Laotian Wat 10 miles from my home, and I'd like to spend time there. Would you please give guidance with basic etiquette and observances? I've only been to one vihara in the past. Thank you for your consideration, Bhante.
I'm not Lao. I'm not Laotian. You have to ask them. I mean, it's tough because I'm so much more lax than all these places, so I'm not much good to you, I'm afraid. I mean, I know how to behave, I suppose. I suppose I'm just shirking my responsibility. But it's hard for me to really talk about all these ridiculous, silly rules that places have.
Well, I go to a Laotian Wat, Bhante, so
You can tell them. How do you
if you want to
behave?
pass this one off on me, I'd be happy to.
Please go ahead.
The Wat that I go to, they actually have a sign posted on the wall with basic etiquette. And I love how simple they make it. Call the monks Ajahn, sit on your legs. So in other words, you don't sit cross-legged, you actually sit on your legs during the time that you're there. Take off your shoes, that's the first one. Those are the ones that are listed. I found out the hard way by making some mistakes, but everyone was always very, very nice and helped me out. Just a couple of other things, and I imagine this is fairly common, but don't walk in front of the monks. Show respect by moving to the side and letting the monks move forward. And then with food, the monks would eat first, and then the lay people eat after the monks are completely done. So it's a little bit different, but I found people very friendly and very willing to help me out because I really didn't know what I was doing.
The reason I don't want to relate all that is because it makes it sound like somehow I mean, people always take this to be Buddhist rules, right? And there's a lot of thought that there's an obligation or an expectation. And there is no expectation. And I try my best. My view and my impression I want to give people is that there are no expectations on you. Monks have a lot of expectations on them. And I think the only expectation is a respectful attitude. I find it surprising sometimes how disrespectful. And, it's not like you have to hold monks as above you, but you should be respectful of the fact that they are ordained. They're not in society, so you shouldn't treat them as your pal and want to shake their hands or hug them or joke with them or so on. It doesn't have to mean putting them above you. Many people do, and that's fine if you think of them as spiritual leaders or whatever. But as separate, as like you would a priest. In modern Western culture, there's a real sense of equality and treating people just as people, and disregarding all of this pomp and ceremony and so on. I sympathize with that for the most part, but I think there is. We should respect. I just think we should be respectful for people in general and be respectful of their situation. Monks have a specific situation, just like priests or rabbis, and I take that all very seriously. When I meet a rabbi or a priest, I respect their path, and I try not to infringe upon it. So for monks, I think that's the only one rule you should keep in mind. Obviously there's many more in the monastery, but general rule of thumb is it's a monk and they're doing something fairly specific, so at the very least, leave them alone. Don't get too close or chummy or think of them as your pal or something. I think that's important.
Even with lay people, I've done a little reading and about Laotian people, and and also just things people have indicated to me. Not really it's not really a situation where you go up and hug someone or anything. There's a little bit of distance, and definitely when people are doing like an overnight meditation or on 8 precepts, you wouldn't touch someone of the opposite sex at all. You wouldn't shake hands or anything like that.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you're on 8 precepts, and many people are, there's generally no contact, at least not between genders.
There's also a scarf, like an upper body scarf that people wear. It's called pabyong, and it's worn diagonally across the chest. The pabyong, the right shoulder is kept bare, and you wear it across the chest. And everyone wears it, men, women, and children. And no one seems to know why. It's just habit or tradition, but everyone wears them. And I didn't think that. I thought it might seem odd if I wore one, but right away people were saying, "Oh, you should wear one. This is where you can get one. I'll bring you an extra one." So I wear one as well. It seems to be some sort of a respectful gesture, but no one knows exactly why. Bhante, I have difficulty to know if I control my breath or not. It's not clear. What should I note? Thanks.
I'm not quite clear on what you're asking. Not quite clear on what you're asking. You should be noting the rising and the falling. If you find yourself trying to control the breath, you should note knowing, or if you're frustrated about it, say frustrated, or if it's unpleasant, which control often is, you can say unpleasant, or I got a good word in Thai. Ut at. We don't have such a word in English. Feeling is fine.
And we're all caught up on questions. Unless Ricola wanted to put a little more detail on the question.
This person had a good answer. If you're not sure whether you're controlling the breath, then note the doubt. That's a good answer. Note yourself doubting. Okay, that's all then. Have a good night. Thank you, Robin, for your help.
Thank you, Bante. Good night.
Good night.